All right, so we are live. Happy Friday, everyone. Brie Stevens here. I have sirens and dogs all in the background as well. But happy Friday. I am here for our Live with the Realtors series. We're wrapping up the first week, and I have a special guest here, Jim Black, with the Jim Black Group. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So your team, you service the Central Massachusetts and Northeast Connecticut region. So another fellow New Englander and Keller Williams agent as well. So before we get into all the things that have changed with your area in regards to COVID, tell us about yourself, how you got into the industry, how long you've been there, and about your team.
Yep. So I've been licensed since '04, but really kind of did real estate full time the last 10 years. So really from 2010, we were located in Millbury, Mass. So kind of right in the middle of all the areas we service. And we have a team of 14, 8 agents, 6 other team members, and we service a pretty large area. People are located in different areas. We sold about 56 million in volume last year, 212 sales. And this year, our goal is right around 280. And we're tracking for that. Obviously, there's some couple roadblocks in the way potentially, but we've definitely been adapting to everything that's going on and still plan on reaching those same goals that we had.
Awesome. Now, for those who aren't familiar with your area that are tuning in, what is your typical home sale price point, and what do you get for that?
Yep. So we're about 265, 275 average sales price, but we're selling $50,000 pieces of land and $1 million investment properties. So it ranges quite a bit. If you're in Worcester itself, in the 250 to 300 range is kind of where you're getting that first time home buyer, 3-bed, 1 to 2 bath, maybe say 1,400 square foot house, depending on condition, will depend on where the price ends up.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Now, with your community, do you want to just tell us a little bit more about the area in general, so if the people tuning in from maybe other places can understand what it's like?
Well, Worcester itself has been developing, which is where we do a lot of our business. It's right in the center of the state. So interjects with a lot of highways. It's very convenient to Boston. People live there, could go to Springfield, could go to Hartford, could go to Providence. So it's a great spot right in the middle. We have the AAA Red Sox team that should be coming here. We like to call them the Paw Sox, even though they're now the Woo Sox.
Gotcha.
So they're building that stadium right now. That's a big thing that's going on as a big project in the city, but just a huge transformation in our downtown area over the last couple of years. If you were in Worcester 10 years ago and you took a walk downtown, you wouldn't even know it was the same place. It's beautiful what they've done.
Awesome. Now, as things have changed since COVID-19, we're sharing with our audience, what did your market look like before? And what does it look like now from the perspective of sales, but also how you conduct business in your state or the states, because you service 2 areas as well.
Yeah, so I would say in most of the markets we're in, it's pretty similar. Our new inventory of homes for sale has dropped drastically. Initially, it was down about 50%. Our showings were down about that amount. The buyers are still looking to buy, though. So what it's created is a super strong seller's market in the residential real estate world, where it's actually more competitive right now, and we have more offers and showings now than we did prior to COVID. And it's obviously caused a little bit of a challenge because we totally changed everything we do about how we operate our business. We're putting, we have a house, we put it on the market on a Tuesday. We'll do a showing block on, say, a Thursday night from 4 to 6, Saturday, maybe 12 to 2, 15-minute showings for each person. And then if we think it's a property that will need more blocks than that, we'll maybe open up Sunday or open up the hours. We're accompanying every showing at this point. We've never done that in the past, just to make sure that people, when they're going in, they're not touching stuff or making them provide a pre-approval before they even show the property. They have to sign a form saying they haven't been sick and they understand they can't touch anything. It's really just it's a lot more labor intensive than it was before. But it's the market's still moving. It's just, I think we'll have a lot less sales, but I don't think we're going to see a sales price reduction because
Right.
of the supply and demand.
Yep. Now you're saying, you have these blocks. So would you say, if it's priced where it should be, it's selling within a week's time right now, or what's your
Oh yeah.
look like?
Yeah, I mean, I was even saying, I mean, I'm still actively selling homes. I personally will sell 60 to 70 homes a year. And at this moment, everything I personally have listed is under contract. I
Wow.
literally ran out. So we're finding that most of them are selling within a week, which is kind of what was happening before. I actually think those blocks of showings almost feels like an open house without having everybody in there at the same time. But as somebody's leaving, somebody else is showing up. So people see the amount of activity that's happening, and they're wanting to not lose out on the house.
Right. So even less sellers now. So with COVID, how do you think people have reacted? I mean, it doesn't sound like it's slowed the buyers down at all, but maybe the sellers perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the perception is definitely out there. I have a lot of buyers calling me saying, "Hey, I think this might be a great opportunity to get a great deal," and I tell them it actually isn't right now. There might be some things, as there will be some foreclosures, there will be some short sale situations in the future. It's not going to happen today. There might be people that need to. I think the perceptions if somebody puts their house on the market, they really, really need to sell, and they probably do. But if there's competition, then they're not going to lower their price just because of that. So I'm
Right.
finding a lot of the sellers are concerned more about the price that they would get right now. And we're showing that they could get the same price or better now than they would have got before. But at the same time, there's definitely plenty of sellers that are holding off and waiting. And we don't know what the market will look like in 6 months or maybe even 6 hours. But it's one of those things where the sellers they're definitely pausing a lot. We're talking to a lot of people that are thinking about 6 months, 12 months down the road. And if they I don't think we're going to have this huge crazy crash. So I don't, if they're not comfortable doing it now, then they probably should wait 6, 12 months.
Right. Awesome. And since this has all happened, you have had to adjust your team and the way you practice business, as you mentioned, your time blocks. But I saw you have some events, virtual events, that you're
Yep.
implementing. So tell us a little bit about what those are coming up.
Yep. We're spending most of our days on Zoom, and we've gotten really good with, buyer and seller meetings, but we're also, like you said, the events. So we're doing every other week, we're doing a first time buyer seminar, which we used to do face to face. And now we do them virtually. And, we don't have the same attendance. Like I think we had maybe 8 or 10 people at the last one, as opposed to face, we might have 25 or 30.
Mhm.
And then we've had some seller seminars and some investor seminars as well. So we've found we could connect with people because we don't have open houses. So we're not
Right.
meeting the new people like we normally would. But we're still doing these things, and they're still effective, and we're still able to educate people. And some of them, I actually find some of it more effective via Zoom. I actually think a seller listing appointment is actually better via Zoom.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely different worlds, but Zoom is definitely dominating the way
Yes.
we communicate now. And you also looking at your Facebook page that I've tagged in the caption of this live here, you've also integrated things with the community. There's like a coloring contest that you did as well. So what kind of things are you bringing together in light of these times, that may be more community outreach type things?
Well, we did the coloring contest, and I mean, you're with Keller Williams too. So we had Red Day yesterday, where we gave back to local communities and in that manner. And with that, I mean, we've extended it where for people to drop stuff off at our office going forward for these local charities that we're supporting. I mean, I think the biggest thing is I've been trying to even it's the little things that we do, like go to a local business and just post it on Facebook, like, hey, this place is open, why don't you come by and check it out? Just really doing these little like quick reviews, because people don't really know what's open, and sometimes online it doesn't really update exactly what's
Mhm.
happening. But really to just promote some of our local businesses, because we really need them. And if you can go and buy some gift cards. So they're not spending any money on, it just gives a little cash inflow to those local businesses you care about. So that's probably one of the little things we're doing. It's more of just like a one-off, like each of us are doing individually, picking small local businesses we can give back to in some way.
That's awesome. I love that. It's definitely the way to reach out, especially restaurants and things like that. What does that look like for you, where you serve right now for opening back up?
So, I mean, we technically are starting our opening back up on Monday, but it's not, I mean, I mean, in Massachusetts, they opened the golf courses this past week. It was one of the few states that was closed. I've seen restaurants slowly opening. I think the challenge is really they're not doing, I've talked to some restaurant owners that, they're bringing in 25% of what they were bringing in before.
Mm.
So I think it's more to keep heads above water until we can truly open, which obviously will be a challenge if we're distancing in a dining room. How do we do that?
Right.
So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges I think we're going to see is the commercial real estate around small businesses like restaurants, and the small businesses themselves. And even, we're getting used to the Zoom stuff. What does that look like for office space?
Right.
It's going to be really interesting that, it can't be positive when we come through this. So there's some positive things out there, but those are things that they're going to be tough walking through.
Absolutely. And before we go, I have my final question I've been asking everyone, and we always say, love where you live. So tell us why you love where you live.
So I was thinking when you asked me that question before, I was thinking about it. I think the one thing I truly love about Worcester, because we go to all these big cities and like I remember being New York City, and I'm like, there's just so many people. And Worcester, it's like this small town environment that's a city. So it feels like everybody knows everybody. It's like the show Cheers, where everybody knows your name, but it's very small town, even though it's the second biggest city in the state. So I think that's one of the things I really like, is that you can walk down the street and you're going to know people, kind of wherever you go. And I like that feeling, as opposed to a big city where you just see new faces every time.
Right. I love that. That's definitely a different answer than we've heard before. So that's great to hear. And again, appreciate the time you've taken today to speak with us and share with our audience how you're adapting. And it's nice to hear from a New Englander yourself, about what's happening in your area. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and for everyone who's tuning in and wants to see more about the area in which Jim serves and his team serves, and how they market their properties and how they're bringing in events virtually to everyone, check them out in the caption. And again, thank you for your time, Jim.
Thank you. Have a great day, Brie.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks.